I'm Lauren of All Trades, and today I'm doing a cabin tour. So that was interior cabin 6137. As far as the layout of the cabin, nothing is special or unique to it. It is the same as any other interior cabin on board, unless there are some other cabins that are unique. It is more or less the same as everything else, any other cabin on Liberty of the Seas. But I do have some pros and cons. I'll start with the cons, which is that it is very close to the end of the hallway. And so anything that is happening in the promenade, any kind of entertainment in there, and then I'm not sure if it's in the Star Lounge or in the Platinum Theater or both, we're able to hear in our cabin at night. It never went so late that it affected us going to bed or falling asleep, although we're night people, so the earliest that we ever go to sleep is closer to midnight or later. But we were surprised at how late it was loud on just a couple of nights. But yeah, if you are a morning person and you're trying to go to bed at 9 o'clock, this is probably not the cabin for you. And if you otherwise like this location on board, I think even just a little bit farther down the cabin is going to be much quieter, because we do like share a wall with where that noise is coming from. So it didn't affect us. There was no noise in the morning. That was great. And that was pretty much the only negatives. And then two positives, two pros. One is it is the closest interior cabin to the pizza. That is why I picked it. I picked that for husband and he loved that. And then another one, this is a surprising pro, is that just outside the cabin and then right at the end of the hall, or like right before you enter the hall, there's like the little chair area. There's 3 chairs and a table. Because it's right by where the elevators are, which is wide open, and it's just a few decks up where there's a window from outside, we were able to get cell service there when we were in port. Now, I don't recommend that you try to use your phone there when at sea, because then you will get expensive cellular at sea roaming charges. But if you would otherwise have cell service and you're not in a balcony cabin, you can just step right out there and get cell service. We're used to having to go up to the sun deck to be able to do that if we're already on the cruise ship. And we were able to just go out there to our internet cafe, and our phones worked great. Although I guess on deck 4, which is just a couple decks down, there is like an outside area. You can go right outside, and you know, we could have gone out there if needed to use a phone. But anyway, it was super convenient. I've talked about this way too much. We really loved this cabin location. It was a little bit loud a couple of times, but otherwise, we loved it. And I love that this ship has like pretty spacious interior cabins, had a little couch. I do wish that there was like a little coffee table or a stool for the desk that I could use as a coffee table for when we got room service in the morning for breakfast. The bathroom has been updated, which I really liked. Yeah, it was really nice having the couch. The TV swivels so that you can watch it either from the couch or in bed. And aside from the carpet, everything feels pretty new in the cabin. And so even though the ship is a little bit older, it didn't feel too much like that in the cabin, which is like, you know, important because you do spend a decent amount of time in your cabin. That's it for me and interior cabin 6137 on the Liberty of the Seas. I don't know if you can hear that. There's this one weird sound that's like, what is that? But it's pretty short. It doesn't happen that much. It's kind of cute. We nicknamed it the Wiggle Spring. If you're not in your cabin much, you won't even notice that it's there. And it's only if the ship's sailing. When it was docked, we never heard that sound. I still don't know what the sound actually is. But anyway,